Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, Cynicalex, and there we have it, the second sneak peek to see who's coming along with Green Goblin for this amazing No Way Home Part 2 mini update. And ladies and gentlemen, may I remind you, this is not the full update that will require maintenance for the anniversary. I know we're in April, I know we've already started collecting anniversary rewards, but this is still not it, which is crazy and so good. This is just like gravy on gravy. So Dr. Octopus and Electro, bam, inspired by No Way Home, make electrifying appearances in Future Fight's new update. Let's go! How sick is this? You see the Ock? He starts going crazy, and then we see Electro, and he's zipping and zapping. So it's just like the movie where they are locked in to those like cement jail cells that have magic barriers in front of them, and we get very little view of the two characters. So it's not the most, you know, surprising, out of this world, you know, creative sneak peek. It's right out of the movie. It's literally right out of the movie. And it also obscures the characters in such a good way, but you can tell, right? This is gonna look as close as it can look to Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus, which is so sick. And then this one's gonna look as close as possible to Jamie Foxx's Electro, which also is so sick, because I gotta say, I love their designs in No Way Home, and especially Jamie Foxx's. Jamie Foxx, No Way Home, I absolutely love that scene where he fully charges up. Yes, this one right here is so freaking cool, dude. It's such a good homage to the original character, right? It's such a good homage to Electro. This is what Electro looks like now, which is honestly, in my opinion, in comparison, terrible. The regular Electro, although he looks very campy in the comics, is honestly so cool and brings tons of nostalgia to me, at least when I see it. So I'm really happy that we're finding a sort of middle ground between a new look for the character and a more modern look with the sort of like, you know, army sort of, you know, he's got all those batteries and stuff around him sort of thing, to combine that with something that's a lot more reminiscent and sort of referencing of the comics, with the lightning there and then the lightning around his body. So I'm actually really happy that we're changing Electro, especially like Alfred Molina's amazing as Dr. Octopus, don't get me wrong, but this Electro sucks in my opinion. Bald Electro, I just don't like him. I know it looks very similar, or kind of similar, to the one from the Spider-Man PS4 game, which is cool and all, but yeah. And then Dr. Octopus, Superior Octopus, is pretty cool from Secret Empire. Like he's dope, I like him, but nothing beats the Alfred Molina Octopus. Gotta be really honest with you. Nothing beats that. So we're getting basically the three, in my opinion, the three best looks that these characters have ever had. Like, I honestly think that Jamie Foxx's Electro is the coolest Electro we've ever seen, and especially since it combines, like I said, the best parts of the comic book and the campiest parts of it that are cool with some like more realistic and sort of grounded in reality type designs for a character. So man, it's actually so sick. A lot of people have been saying they're actually more hyped for this update now, because they've seen that we're getting Electro and Dr. Octopus versus just Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. So let's go ahead and take a look at what they say on the forums. Agents, more trouble seems to be ahead for our webhead Spidey. Tentacles and electricity, a dangerous combo. Check out the new looks of these two supervillains, one who manipulates his tentacles freely and one who wields massive amounts of electricity. We will announce more details through the patch details later. So if you guys have been keeping up with the pattern of patch note announcements, this is basically the telltale sign. This is the tap on the nose that there's not going to be any more sneak peeks. Now, there's always the possibility, for whatever reason, that they break this trend, but the trend has been for the past years, I don't know how many years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that when they post this, it's done. So we shouldn't be expecting any other, I'm not going to be personally expecting any other uniforms, which does still leave a few members of the Sinister Six high and dry. Namely, from the update, from the movie especially, Sandman and Lizard, right? They were in the movie. They had smaller parts, no doubt. Like Electro and Dr. Octopus definitely had the biggest parts after Green Goblin. Green Goblin had the biggest part, then probably Dr. Octopus, then Electro. Sandman, sort of close to Electro, not quite there. And then Lizard has like 5 lines in the whole movie. Like, he literally says nothing for whatever reason. So I can understand why they cut Lizard and Sandman, because they are the lower echelon ones. Sadly, they're also the combat types, which is kind of annoying. My only hope is that Dr. Octopus will return to his combat roots, because he's originally a combat type character. That doesn't matter for transcending him, because you don't need to use combat books or anything like that. But yeah, it's something to keep in mind. Also, I just got to say really quickly, this has nothing to do, well, this has something to do with the sneak peek. Congratulations to all those people way back, Black Friday 2021. Do you remember? I remember. We were like, hey guys, maybe you could use the free Transcended selector on Dr. Octopus, because maybe in December or January or sometime next year, Dr. Octopus will get a rework, Alfred Molina style, for No Way Home. And then, of course, the December update rolls around. We see Spider-Man's getting a rework. We see No Way Home. Everyone's losing their minds. It worked. It worked. And then, of course, we have 3.5 months of dryness where there's nothing. And everyone's like, dang, I wasted my Transcendent selector. Thanks, Cynicalex. You're a bum, dude. Actually, not that many people hated on me for it. They just sort of accepted it as a swing and a miss type of thing. But, man, we hit it, baby. We hit it. Hey, we hit it. So I'm really happy for all of you that chose Dr. Octopus. You may have gotten down and regretted your decision in the meantime, but now you'll have something hopefully substantially better. I think for Dr. Octopus, he will go back to combat, but it's basically a toss-up 50-50 between speed and combat. It's unfortunate, like I said, for both Sandman and Lizard that they're basically probably not getting anything. There's a very high chance of that. And I say it's unfortunate because they're both combat types that have been terrible for a long time and deserve a rework. And then, although he's not in the movie, I think a lot of people were actually hoping to see something from Mysterio. And I know there's some data mined information that hinted at Mysterio's uniform being changed. So I think that's what gave some people hope that he would get some renewed look, or maybe just an upgraded kit, like his kit the same, but like bumping up the stats, bumping up the skill numbers, the percentages, the damages, and then throwing him a bone with the Transcendence or something like that. Because for what it's worth, Dr. Octopus has a very cool Transcendent skill. And I think that's going to be the other thing that a lot of people are looking at, is what's going to happen. Are they going to reuse this Transcendent skill? It's one of the coolest Transcendent skills in the game. I got to be honest. It still is. It was the first, or it was the second wave of Transcendent skills to be introduced after Warriors of the Sky. And it's one of the coolest. You have Vulture, you have Electro, you have Sandman, and you have Mysterio all coming in and attacking Sinister Six style. It's very, very, I think you even see Kraven there for a second. It's very, very, very cool. I think the only one that's not in there is Green Goblin. So maybe what they're going to do is maybe redesign the skill to like animate the new uniforms for these characters, because of course now Dr. Octopus and Electro are going to look different, and maybe they're going to give them both that Transcended skill and then give Green Goblin a tier 3. I'm not exactly sure if they're going to make a new one, for example. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. As far as Electro goes, he's been one of the most disappointing premium characters ever. Like, he was only ever good for ABX and for a short amount of time, and he was barely an upgrade over the other speed villains we were using at the time. And then again, one update later, he got eclipsed by Mystique, and then it just sort of ran from there with other speed types coming in, Bullseye, Corvus, etc. Just completely, like, they're not even like, he's not even close, dude. This dude was doing horrible damage, horrible numbers prior to much stronger speed types coming out. And then since then, he's just been useless for everything. He's basically, at this point, only a Sinister Six leadership. It's a great leadership, so hopefully we'll be able to make use of it, and hopefully they'll give a couple more of those characters the Sinister Six tag, because very few characters have the Sinister Six tag. Like, Green Goblin doesn't have it at all on any of his kits, and I believe Dr. Octopus... Oh, he does have it. Okay, so Dr. Octopus does have it. That is good. So we'll have to wait and see. And then as far as his typing goes, I think it could go either speed, or they could switch him over to blast. It's definitely sort of up in the air, but again, we'll have to see what happens, whether he's a tier 3 or Transcendent, because that's really only reason why it's going to matter. If he changes to blast, if he's tier 3, it doesn't matter. He'll still be speed books. So I think there's a pretty high chance, whether it's Green Goblin or Electro, that you're going to need another 10 speed books. That's right, 30. I don't know why I did this, but 30 speed books if you went for Hawkeye, Gwenpool, and now either Electro or Green Goblin. If that is the case, they could all get Transcendence, though. We have no way of knowing. But man, it's very, very exciting. So yeah, just to go back to what I was saying briefly, for those of you that are keeping up, this means there's going to be no more patch. There's going to be no more sneak peeks before the patch notes go up, and the patch notes should go up Tuesday morning, unless they're being delayed another day, because I believe the last update was delayed a day. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, I think they should go up either the 12th in the morning, in the very early hours of the morning on the 12th, for Eastern time, it's like 2, 3 a.m. Or the 13th, and then the update will be that same night, like whatever, 15 hours later. And then for the patch notes and for the update itself, again, it should be a rolling update. So it's crazy to think that we're having the second or third one of these, but basically, yeah, there's going to be no maintenance. The full maintenance update is actually still like 10 days or whatever away, because we still have 4 days on the future pass. So in about a week, we should start seeing sneak peeks for the actual 7-year anniversary update, which is the one that will have the maintenance, the whatever 7-hour maintenance, and which should bring more things, right? Not just uniforms, but also game mode reworks, etc., quality of life stuff, UI changes, perhaps new events, etc., etc. So yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that we're getting so much. Like it simultaneously doesn't seem like a lot of content, but then it actually is a lot of content. So I kind of go back and forth on it. And yeah, it's just going to end up being 3 uniforms for these 3 characters, and they're going to get these massive reworks. Hopefully we're going to be able to use all 3 of them in endgame World Boss Legend type content. But then we'll have to wait and see how else they are usable, because we do have a pretty good combination of rare characters here with speed types, with villains, and with human types. So especially for something like squad battle, right? We haven't been using him, but Electro is available. He is an option for it, but we haven't been using him. And people use Dr. Octopus just as a swap between primarily using Bullseye. I was gonna say Hawkeye. He's dressed as Hawkeye. So there could definitely be a shift in this meta. It's not very meaningful. Not that many people take squad battle that seriously to care it that much, but you could definitely see a shift to something like this and just use Black Cat as a support because of her insight, or even something like that, because frankly, unless Electro's lead gets a buff, Black Cat's lead is still better. But yeah, you could see basically the erasure of Bullseye. This is the last game mode where Bullseye has pretty much any relevance, and he's holding on by a thread here. He's really holding on by the bowstrings. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But we've also seen a lot of disappointing speed villains come through. A lot. There's been a lot of disappointment, a lot of very small, petty, incremental upgrades. I'm looking at you know, not even just Zemo, but like Black Cat. Even Requiem was just a small upgrade over Corvus, although none of those are available for that because they're not humans. But yeah, the speed villain class has been kind of controversial and not in a good way for a while. So hopefully they'll have some rectification to do with that, because you're basically looking at potentially 3 speed villains, right? Electro and Green Goblin are speed villains by their base kit, and then Dr. Octopus is the only one that's actually a combat villain by his base kit. So it'll be very interesting to see. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below with your predictions. What do you think is going to be the typing, and whether they're going to be tier 3 or transcended for Electro, Green Goblin, and Dr. Octopus? Furthermore, how much of an L is it going to be potentially, hopefully not, but potentially if none of these characters or some of them don't get a tier 3 or transcendence, because the sneak peek didn't have any information about that. As hard as we looked for a tier 3 sneak peek, there really wasn't anything there. So yeah, I'm really hoping that's not the case. Like, I really hope that Black Cat is the last time we see that kind of garbage. But it's not garbage, but it's just such a letdown. It's such a letdown. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below with your ideas and your predictions. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.